To set the parameters for the probe, press the page button and go into the parameter settings, and then you want to scroll down to where your probe settings are. To set the parameters, yours may be disabled. I'm not sure how it comes as a factory setting, but set that to mode 1 for the basic probes settings. '71 wants to be set to current position, which is I think the default setting. The back distance after you probed is the amount that it'll lift up once it's touched off the probe. Cut of diameter don't matter, and 2011 when you start the probe process, but that's default as 20, so I would leave that as it is. But those are your basic settings for using the probe. Right, we've wired up our probe, so we should all be set up now. We've changed our settings in the parameters, so our probe should now be working. There is a nice little feature we can use on the DDCS version 3. If you press the toolpath button once, you'll get this nice little feature come up that shows you all the inputs and outputs. And if you take your probe and touch with the crocodile clip, you should see that the probe section here changes to high when you touch it. That tells us our probe's working. So now we can go forward and do the next step, where we can actually set the probe up and use it. Okay, first thing we're going to do is, when you've got your workpiece set up, your blank set up on your work table, pick a corner that you know that the machine's not going to cut, so you've got a reference point, and then zero your tool off, just like you would normally, so you got the height from your tool to your workpiece. When you've done that, zero off your Z-axis like you would normally would. So now you know your tool's the right height from your workpiece, ready to start your cut. The next step to do is to raise your Z. Then place your probe underneath. Don't forget to put your crocodile clip on. Really important, because if you don't, you'll end up stabbing it like I've done that and putting a big hole in it, and you might do a lot more damage. Luckily I didn't. So it's really important this crocodile clip goes onto your tool. All you need to do now is press the probe button twice, and it comes down, touches off, and now your probe height is set in the controller, so it knows the reference, knows the height. So now when we remove the tools away and we press go to 0, it goes back to its original position. Right, if I raise this up, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust the height of the tool. I'm going to move it down a bit, so now it's out of reference. And then when we bring that down, it's obviously too high. So imagine we've just changed the tool. So I'll raise it up, we put our probe under, put our crocodile clip on, and then we do the probe again. In my case I press it twice, comes down, touches off, and now it's logged that in as the height for our reference point. So when we go to 0 again, it's the same height as it was before. And you can do this as many times as you want for changing your tool during this cutting session. I'll do it one more time. I'll raise it up, change the height of our tool. We'll push it in so it's way out. So as you can see, I'll bring it down. Our reference to our 0 is 12 now out. So we'll raise it up enough. Put our probe underneath. Crocodile clip on. Do the probe function again. Touches off. And there we go. It's referenced it back to 0. So when we press go to 0, it's back to where it started. One thing I'm going to say is if at any point you press the 0 button during the cutting session, you'll have to go back to the start and re-zero your tool and re-reference your probe like we did at the beginning, because it will lose it all. But that's all there is to using basic probe in mode 1 on the DDCSV3. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.